I'm excited to hear what Ace has to say about one of his favorite characters in a movie, and that is Doctor Strange. You just got back.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. So we've got post movie high going on, I
Okay.
think. Yeah.
So, how do you want to do this? Do you want to talk for a while about it? Do you want to try to go in chronological order? This is going to be spoilers. So, if you're not wanting to hear spoilers, you can leave now. It's in the title that is a review and spoilers. So,
Yeah,
it's all on you.
this is going to be spoiler heavy.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll just give you my general thoughts for a moment, and then we can kind of go through some of the story beats.
Okay.
So, yeah, it looks like some of the reviews, while are positive, 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. I did start to feel like, there's a little bit of complaining. Not everyone was in love with it. Sounded like some fans may be disappointed, and maybe that helped me, but I loved it.
Okay.
Yes, Doctor Strange is one of my top Marvel characters, other than Cap and Thor. So I was, oof, man, this one knocked it out of the park. It was super action packed. I
Nice.
mean, there was hardly any downtime, but there was still enough characterization, which I did hear was a complaint. I felt I liked everyone. I felt I got a lot of good characterization. Um, Sam Raimi is in full effect. But I didn't feel it was cheesy at all. I thought his horror touches worked perfectly, while creepy and a little jump scary. Obviously, was an R.
Okay.
So I suppose if you absolutely can't stand Sam Raimi, then you might not love this movie. But I thought overall he did great. And then the MVP for me is still Benedict. I mean Doctor Strange himself was phenomenal. And yeah, Scarlet Witch delivers. Elizabeth
Nice.
Olsen does a great job. Um, I do think America Chavez is okay. I think if you know nothing of her character, you'd be like, yeah, she was okay, a little whiny, but not annoyingly so.
Okay.
Um, I think if you've read her character, she's a little more cocky, a little more brash. And so I think they missed that characterization of her. So, granted, I mean, Marvel might claim there's a ton of America Chavez fans. There isn't. Um, but if you are, you might be a little
Woo!
disappointed.
Over
Yeah,
here.
you might be a slightly disappointed. But her powers are really cool, so that works. That works well.
Okay,
Um,
so are her powers, before you go into the next thing, are her powers like way crazy overpowered, or are they legitimate actual powers?
oh, they do insinuate at the end that her power is pretty great, but not to the point of like Captain Marvel
Okay.
insane. Yeah, you're
Okay.
not like, holy gosh. I mean, she does something pretty cool, and she is key to winning the day, so to speak, but not to the point of like, oh gosh, well, everyone just throw their hands up because America Chavez is here. So,
Okay. And just so people know, I have not seen this, but I'm just as excited about hearing your side of what this is, because this would be the conversation we would be having anyway on the ride home or something like that.
yeah, I will have this conversation, but I am gonna hate to spoil one for you because it was everyone kind of cheered in the.
Okay.
It wasn't quite Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, like where everyone really blew
Yeah.
up, but it was pretty important. I mean,
Okay.
it was.
Now, my question for you before we really jump in, because I think out of the two, I'm more of Elizabeth Olsen than the Cumberbatch. Um,
Sure.
and I actually like, I think, Scarlet Witch more than Doctor Strange as comic book character.
Yeah.
Now, my question to you, was Elizabeth Olsen better in this, or was she better in WandaVision?
Well, It'll boil down to, and this is, obviously a huge spoiler. So, I mean, she's full villain. Like,
Woo! I like that.
she is bad from, there's no build up. It's like, that's what I did like about it. It wasn't like the slow build up where she becomes kind of messed up. It's like, it's on. You see Wanda, have a couple scenes with her. Hey, guess what? I'm bad and I'm the cause of this whole problem. And
Nice.
it works for me. The other
I
point,
I like that.
yeah. So, okay. So, to answer your question, it all depends on if you are really turned off by how much of a villain she is in this, and if you really want the good Scarlet Witch. If you don't like this, then that could potentially turn you off a bit. But I would caution everyone that is major Scarlet Witch fans that it looks pretty definitive, but it's not, and she's definitely going to play a big redemptive arc going forward.
Which
You
I
won't go ahead.
that's the part that I'm actually excited about because I think WandaVision ended at a perfect time because of the conflict of losing the kids and the twins.
Yeah,
And you could see that the mental situation that she was in, something was about to explode. And that is actually sort of her arc in comics to where she does do this sort of arc and then comes back to the Avengers eventually in a different way. And I'm happy to hear that that's the direction it might be going.
yeah. I mean, they took two definite versions or issues with Wanda and combined it. When I was a kid, I could still remember the cover creeped me out. Wanda is possessed by Chthon
Yeah,
in the Darkhold, and she's got all the Avengers upside down behind her, and she looks evil, and it's John Byrne art, and it's like, oh my gosh. And so they took that, and then they combined it with her breaking down when she just, did away with all the mutants and really lost it and destroyed the Avengers. So
nice.
they took story elements of both and combined it, and it totally works. I thought it was great.
Okay, so you have the floor. So you do what you want to do in the order that you want to do it.
Well, I will start with this too. Another head scratcher for me was one of the several of the reviewers had said, or people tweeted online that annoyed that the Marvel TV shows, Disney Plus shows, didn't factor in. It's like meaningless. You didn't even reference it, and I'm like, did they watch the same movies I did? Because it's
Even in the trailers that was referenced a lot.
yeah. I mean,
Hmm.
it's totally referenced. I mean, Strange talks about the town. She comments on it. Her kids are central to what's going on.
Yeah.
That's the crux of why she's losing her mind. So it's like, and those kids are the same kids from WandaVision. That's the little kid actors. It's the same too.
Okay.
So I'm like, how did WandaVision not factor into this? I don't get it. Because they show her at the end of WandaVision reading the Darkhold. Well, the Darkhold has completely corrupted her. So in some way, it's not completely her fault. It's basically possessed her. Her fingers are all black now, like and she's dealing with black magic like Agatha. And
So the
so,
Darkhold book has done that to her fingers, you're saying?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I mean, she still chose to read it and go down this path, but she's totally corrupted by the Darkhold, which we saw her doing at the end of WandaVision. So again,
Nice.
I'm like, to me, it would be like I'd have more questions if I hadn't watched WandaVision. So
That's
anyway,
an interesting take on it then, for sure.
yeah. I mean, you wouldn't be completely lost. They do a good job of making it viewer friendly, but
Okay.
your enjoyment is more fulfilled having watched WandaVision and getting an understanding of where she's coming from. So, yeah, whoever's saying that is, I don't know what they're smoking, but
A- And if anybody is in the chat and wants to comment or ask a question, I mean, feel free to ask any question that you want. Now, remember, don't be mad that he answers it. We put it out there that We're
This is
we're revealing everything.
yeah, this is big
Now,
time spoilers.
question: Were you? And I know that you weren't majorly disappointed because you got some of the cameos, but was there one cameo that actually did not happen that you were truly hoping that would happen?
Yeah, there was one, and I'll go ahead and say it. I, I thought it would have made a lot of sense and really teased something because I think they could have thrown it in. It would have been the one cameo I think you could have just thrown in as a joke, and people like lose their minds and moved on, and everyone would have been fine with it. And that was Deadpool. We don't get Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool
Okay.
at all. And
Okay.
I really do think that would have been really well received because
Yeah.
again, I think it would have been the one character you could have just thrown in there,
Yep.
and he pops up because he's so random anyway, and just said, "Hey, Deadpool," and done some funny quip, and that was it, and you would have been like, "Oh."
It'd have been awesome if
So
he would have done his, breaking the third wall in
yeah,
this type of a
yes,
movie.
he's like, "Holy crap, this is getting confused." Make some funny quip. I think that was a missed opportunity, and because we know they're working on Deadpool 3 now, and it's going to
Yep.
happen, and it just seems like, man, that would have been really smart. But maybe Ryan wanted too much money. Who knows? So to me, that was the only cameo that I thought would have worked that wasn't there.
Okay. All right.
Um, and I will say this too, that other reviewers, a lot of people were maybe disappointed that it wasn't this well, a huge cameo fest because someone acted like there wasn't very many multiverses, and it's like, yeah, they went through all kinds of worlds, and Strange ended up on multiple worlds.
Hmm.
So yeah, I was like, how many more would you have wanted? It would have made it really stupid.
Is my wife
So
gonna be really confused watching this?
mm, I don't think so. I think they lay it out
Okay.
pretty well for laymen.
So if she likes Spider-Man, you're gonna say she'll be right there
Yeah,
with
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, definitely you wanted to have seen Spider-Man.
Okay.
I mean, you definitely needed to watch WandaVision,
And
and
she did.
Spider-Man.
Okay. We're good.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be like pretty self. It's really just building on what Spider-Man set up, in my opinion. I'm not saying she won't have a question or two, but one that can be easily answered that has by someone who has just a little bit of comic knowledge. I mean, and it's not going to
Gotcha.
hurt the story. I don't think so.
All right,
Um,
fine, sir. You got the floor.
so yeah, those are my thoughts on it, and I'll give you a. I don't think we'll go through the whole movie. I'll give you like some really
Yeah.
killer story beats.
Yep.
So the main thing to say is it starts off on an action scene, which is totally really cool. And I've missed that about some movies. And the first movie I ever saw that did that was Lethal Weapon 2. I'll never forget it. It was like the first time you ever saw a sequel, and instead of just a slow buildup, they go bam right into the action. We don't need to introduce anyone. It's Riggs and Murtaugh. They're just going for it, and that's how this starts. And I thought it was pretty kick ass.
That's perfect.
Yeah. And so then the action doesn't really let up. I mean, of course, there are some scenes that finally slow down, but man, it is go. And I liked it. I loved that. Still got plenty of characterization, so I didn't feel cheated on that. Um, you get introduced to a variant of Christine Palmer. There is a spoiler. Yes, Doctor Strange is at her wedding, and our universe's Christine is getting married to someone other than Strange.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so and that plays out through the whole movie, because she asks him if he's happy, and he says yes, but he's not really happy.
Right.
It's also cool. Strange is very much a celebrity. Everyone knows who he is, and that he played a big part in saving the universe.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so he's definitely a big time celebrity superhero. In fact, he's at the wedding when Gargantos, but is actually Shuma Gorath, attacks, and he jumps out the window, kind of superhero esque, and everyone's snapping pictures, and so yeah, that was cool. I thought that was cool. Um, so again, we go into it really quick. the first scene with Scarlet Witch or with Wanda is boom. You know, she trips up and says something that makes Strange say what, and so she just waves her hand, and her big field that we saw in the previews where she's cutting flowers off of trees or whatever.
Yeah.
It's all decimated, a black, red, just decay because she's been reading the Darkhold of that whole area. She goes, "Yeah, I'm here for America Chavez. I need her power, and if you don't give her to me, I'll kill you all." So yeah, I mean, it's boom.
Nice.
Yeah, I was like, "Whoa!" I didn't expect her to. It was a done. She's already evil from page one.
I like it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Um, so I won't go through everything. I'm trying to remember. They have some really great battles that I always forget how to pronounce it, but the strings kama Taraj. Uh, and we get to see, if you really really know Doctor Strange comics, we get to see Rintrah. He's the bull creature. He's a
Okay.
student there, and he was a student of Strange's in the comics, and that's a really cool nod. He plays a little part, but so that was cool. She just decimates everyone, and Strange and Wong and America have to escape. Well, actually, I think it's just America and Strange escape because she captures Wong.
Oh, so Scarlet Witch captures Wong.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember everything.
Who is the Sorcerer Supreme, correct?
Yeah, and just a little. That still kind of bugs me. It's like
It does. Yeah.
I get it. It kind of makes sense, but it's one of those things that you're just like, come on, guys. The joke. It's kind of a joke, kind of like
Mhm.
Fat Thor, and it still isn't resolved at the end of the movie. And you're like, okay, the joke is over. Doctor Strange is the Sorcerer Supreme. The joke's over. It's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
So it's a minor quibble though. Um, so they do end up. She doesn't have control of her powers, so she is bouncing through all these universes, and that's a really cool scene where she doesn't have control, and they just end up falling through universe after universe after universe, and you see all these different places. It's like, wow, that was really cool. And then they land in this reality that is very much Earth-like,
Okay.
and they need to go find that version of Doctor Strange. So they go there. They find a statue. He's a huge celebrity. He died saving the world from Thanos. So there was Thanos there as well. He opens the door and it's Baron Mordo. It's the version we never see our Earth's Baron Mordo in this movie. We only see the variant. And so he's all friendly with them. They sit and drink tea. He's drugged them. They're captured, and they wake up in cages. He sees that Earth's Christine Palmer, who does play a big role in the rest of the movie, and she's really good.
Okay.
So I won't go through all the little beats here, but I'm gonna fast forward through. He gets taken to the Illuminati, and so this is where you're excited, but I had
This is
my
where we're trying to figure out who exactly is going to be in the Illuminati and
yeah,
what actual star.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You get it all here.
Okay, I want to know.
So it was good to have some tempered expectations, but it was totally met. So let's go through the spoilers first. We obviously saw there is a Captain Marvel variant from the trailers, and it is Monica Rambeau's mom. It's the
Mhm.
same actress from Captain Marvel. She's their Earth's Captain Marvel. So
Okay.
that's one member. Baron Mordo is another one, and he's got kind of a sword. So I remember people saying, "Ah, it's Blade. Blade's going to be in the Illuminati." No, it's not. It's just Baron Mordo.
And he's only from this earth, you're saying.
Right? Yeah, he's
Okay.
that Earth's Baron Mordo. He's not ours. Um, okay, so the other one that got spoiled, which I heard Kevin Feige was irritated at marketing because they spoiled Captain Carter. He was very annoyed by that, and I agree. It would have been even cooler to not have seen the shield in the
I
trailers, and
I don't
yeah,
understand why they did that. I mean, that
yeah,
doesn't
that
make any sense.
that makes no sense. That was really stupid. That was really stupid because it would have popped even bigger.
Okay.
when they showed her. And then this is a really cool one for those of us who are A, Black Bolt fans, and B, Inhuman watchers who suffered through that. We get a proper Black Bolt played by Anson Mount, who was Black Bolt in the TV show. He's
Really?
he has his perfect costume. He has the full mask, the prong, the wings. Oh man, it was so cool.
So is that one of the cooler moments for you during this?
Yes, that was
Okay.
totally badass. And they show his power too. Oh yeah, it's really killer. And then okay, so that one was a big one for me. Some people were gasping for some reason. I guess they never figured out that Professor X was there, and he was in the yellow chair, the green suit, straight out of the animated series. And so that was killer. But the one, and there is one at the end too that I will get to. Now this is the big one though for
Okay.
everyone that I was in the audience with, and it is Mr. Fantastic, and it is totally John Krasinski in full Reed Richards gear. He's Mr. Fantastic. I mean, he is not a cosplayer or he's a joke. He is Reed Richards, and it was
He looked
badass.
okay. He looked
Yeah.
awesome. Nice.
Oh, oh yeah. Everyone was like, yeah. So, I got to say, Feige, if you haven't nailed down Krasinski as Reed Richards for our Fantastic Four movie, this is going to suck big time because I think
Don't
everyone's
they?
going to,
They
yeah,
have to.
they have to.
I mean, why would you do this for just this movie if he's not
I,
your guy?
I know. Yeah, it does not make sense. Yeah, if they for some reason say, oh, well, that was just a variant, we've got Joe Blow here to play Reed Richards, you're like, seriously? But so that was the big one. And you do get to see their powers at work. There is a really, really cool scene with Black Bolt. They do a flashback explaining how they had to take out their world's Doctor Strange, and he goes, "I'm sorry," and then he just obliterates Doctor Strange of that Earth. It was
Wow.
it was killer, literally. So, um, okay, so here's the shocking part. The big spoiler, guys. So Wanda ends up coming there. We saw that in the trailer. She possesses that Earth's Wanda. So she's in the Darkhold. She doesn't have Chavez's power yet, and she can't go to the other universes, but she can use the Darkhold to possess that universe's. It's called day walking or sleepwalking, something like that.
Okay.
Dreamwalking. Um, so she possesses that Scarlet Witch in that world, and she comes to the Illuminati and she decimates them
All of them.
brutally. Yeah, they're all dead.
So even
Yeah,
Mr. Fantastic's dead.
he did. Yeah, he did.
Whoa.
I will spoil this one because it was brutal. Even Xander was like, for my son, he was like, "Oh, that was gross, Dad." She. So, oh, okay. One of the members, who was it that said, "Look, Wanda, Black Bolt only has to open his mouth and you're done for. So please consider what you're doing." And she goes, "What mouth?" And you look over and she's Matrix style removed his mouth. And he's like, and he goes, and blows his head off. Like
He blew
he,
his own head off.
well, not, he didn't blow his head off. It's like, and his brain just crumbles. So he decimated his own head.
Wow. Wow.
It was brutal.
Dang.
That did push the PG. That whole scene pushed the PG-13 with how she took out all of them.
Wonder how they had to do that. Like, do you think they shot it and were told, no, this can't be in it, no, this can't be in it? Or do you think they already knew what could or couldn't?
Yeah, I mean, these guys are pros. They know the ratings board and what they will typically accept and not. So there probably could have been some different shots of like, hey, give them A or B, and they'll let us know which one they will allow
Mm.
or whatever. So, um, but yeah, so I will. I'll let you see how she takes out the rest of them. But
Does
yeah,
Mr. Fantastic show his powers at all?
he does a little bit. Yeah, he stretches, and then how he dies is kind of how he shows his power more. So yeah. It was like, oh, yikes.
Dang.
Um,
That just
so
shows
okay,
you how powerful she is.
yeah, yeah. So that was those are the big beats, and then we get into there's a lot more that's happening. Strange ends up on another world, where Doctor Strange is there, another version of himself, and he's got corrupted by the Darkhold too, because they need another version of it.
So is it this?
No, it's the one where he's human. He's like, things just got out of hand.
Hmm.
And actually, that line isn't in the movie, but that's that Strange he goes to, and he's totally corrupted. The whole world is so trippy because it's been he screwed up, and then they had a convergence, and which meant two worlds, two universes collided, and it's just a whole mess. And he's the only survivor. He's there alone, and so he and our Doctor Strange get into it because he sees that there's a Christine Palmer with him, and he wants her.
Gotcha.
So, and then I'll explain the zombie scene. That is that Defender Strange. We've seen at the beginning. We've seen the live version of him in the trailer. He does get killed in the first few minutes, and Doctor Strange buries him on our Earth. Well, what
Okay.
Doctor Strange is actually stuck in another multiverse, and so he dream walks into the dead body of that Strange that he buried on our Earth, and so that's how he comes to fight Wanda in the final battle. Is he's in a zombie body. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So the other thing that I'll say is, as a comic fan, they have Mount Wundagore in it, and that when they talk about that, that's really cool. That's a huge thing where she was trained by Agatha Harkness in the comics. It's also where the High Evolutionary dwelled, who we'll get introduced to in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So there's a big final battle at Mount Wundagore, which is really cool.
Did they
Uh,
show any kind of her training at all?
of Wanda's training?
Yeah.
No, they didn't. I mean, that didn't happen in the MCU. That's comic book stuff, and they just haven't quite tied that together. You do get a statue of Cthon, which I thought was kind of a nice little nod to say, "Hey, here he was. He's the first demon of the Marvel universe." Um, yeah. So it was a satisfying final battle. Well done. I think there'll be a couple complainers about the MCU. Again,
Of
I didn't
course.
think America Chavez. I thought she came into her own at the end. I thought she earned it. She didn't come off as ultra powerful in the beginning. She was actually kind of like, geez, get it together a little. So I thought she did good, and she wasn't so overly powered that where you're just like, oh my gosh. She is very unique. They make that clear. There's no other doppelgangers of her in the whole multiverse. She's it. That's why she has this power that she can travel through the multiverses. So I thought it was fine. I don't have any problems with it. Um, so yeah, that's kind of it. And I'll go ahead and spoil the other big cameo. And this one occurs in the first credit scene.
Oh,
So
okay.
so there is a massive hint, and it kind of ends on a what the, in that Doctor Strange looks like he might be a little corrupted by the Darkhold because he had to use it too. Well, instead of it leaving us completely hanging, we go boom into another a scene, and a portal opens and out walks Clea. and she's played by Charlize Theron.
Really? Which
Yeah,
was already rumored that she was gonna be in the MCU, but
and
not as that, right?
she's clear. She's in the purple getup, white hair. She looks awesome, and
Mm,
she opens a portal to the dark dimension. You can remember how it looked from Doctor Strange 1,
mhm.
and they walk through, and there you go. That's the movie.
Wow.
It was excellent. So
Well, you said the first cutscene, end credit
yeah,
scene.
I will tell you this. I'm not gonna spoil it. I mean, if you want to stay, fine. It's a joke scene. It's very humorous.
On the second
Uh,
one?
yeah.
Okay.
But if you have to pee really bad or just don't feel like sticking around, you can wait and watch it on video. You won't miss anything story wise. It's like the one in Ragnarok where Grandmaster comes out and it's like, "Hey guys."
Mm,
Yeah, it's kind of pointless. It's funny though. It's clever and funny.
okay.
So though that's I mean the only other person that didn't appear, me and my B characters, I thought they were going to enter. We got Clea, but we didn't get Doctor Voodoo, which was a bummer. Because I'd heard he was for sure in it. And I think Baron Mordo's character was supposed to be Doctor Voodoo. I
Okay.
really do. I really do. I think that was probably originally going to be Doctor Voodoo. We
So
would
why
have
do you
got
think they decided not to do that?
I think they decided to. Well, here's what I thought they were going for. We're going to introduce Doctor Voodoo, who was the brother of the guy who got killed in the first one. He got killed in his first few seconds. And so, hey, here's Doctor Voodoo on this world, and we'll introduce you to our Doctor Voodoo later. And I think they decided, nah, we'll just wait on that. It's going to make it a lot more sensible if we have Baron Mordo in this, and I think that's going to be because even his design almost looks more like Dr. Voodoo to me. It's like, I think you guys really kind of changed midway and decided, no, let's hold on to Dr. Voodoo. We'll introduce him later. This is going to make much more sense story wise. And I agree. It
Hmm,
did. It connected things with the Baron Mordo and how they did it.
gotcha.
So
So
yeah, again, I think the cameos worked. I think it was better that we didn't have part of me did want all those cameos, but it wouldn't have worked.
that's what I was gonna ask you. Do you think if you would have had like Tom Cruise being the Tony Stark, would it have taken away from what the actual movie was?
I think Tom Cruise could have worked as part of the Illuminati, and he would have been in charge of those. I do think that could have worked.
Who would he have taken the place of?
I think they just would have added him in there
Okay.
to have a full Illuminati, because really the only ones that weren't represented were Iron Man and then Black Panther.
Mm.
Otherwise, excuse me, Black Panther joined later, but the original Illuminati were missing Namor and Iron Man. Those are the
Which
ones
you're
we're
not gonna
missing.
show Namor before Black
No,
Panther 2.
no, exactly. So I do think it could have worked because we had Krasinski and Anson Mount, and then but they spoiled it. You had Captain Carter and Professor X, in which we got
Mhm.
spoiled. But I think you could have pulled that off. I think what would not have worked is somehow jumping through universes and seeing Hugh Jackman and Ben Affleck and Nick Cage as Ghost Rider or Thomas Jane Punisher.
Human Torch or
Yeah, as much as I fanboy would have wanted it, story wise, no, I don't think so. And it wouldn't have made sense to put him in the Illuminati at all. You could have pulled off Tom Cruise, but let's be honest, you don't want to have to pay Tom Cruise for that and then kill him because that's what they did with the rest of them. And
yeah.
you're not going to make Tom Cruise Iron Man in our universe like we hope they are with Krasinski. So
Yeah, I mean, if you honestly give me Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, I'm all in. Now, the problem's going to be it's almost going to be like a boner joke that this is going to be the only time he becomes Mr. Fantastic, and nobody wants that.
yeah, nobody wants that. Well, and let's think about the rules they've set here. So in the Illuminati, we have Captain Carter, who does exist in our world. She's just Peggy Carter. Okay, but it's her.
Mm-hmm.
You have Professor X, which we don't know who ours is, but it obviously is Patrick Stewart. You have Baron Mordo, the same Baron Mordo. Yeah, Captain Marvel is Monica's mom, but she does exist in our universe. It's the same person. Anson Mount, Black Bolt, exists in our universe. He's the crappy version of Black Bolt, but it's the same person.
Yeah.
So if they don't have Krasinski as our Reed, then it's the only one that's like, well, who are you? It's like, this doesn't make sense.
So you think Krasinski's wife was full of crap this whole time that she was saying what she was saying? Or
Uh,
do you
well,
think
I
she
don't think
still probably
so.
isn't Invisible Woman?
I kind of don't think she's Invisible Woman. I think this is Krasinski's role, and I don't think they're going to go with her for. That's just a gut feeling. I kind of
Yeah.
hope I'm wrong though, because I think she'd be amazing. But I don't know. Maybe it's like, hey, hun, we're going to be doing this role for the next 10 years, and we're going to be filming a lot together. Do we really want to spend that much time together? Maybe
Nope.
you don't.
I want to
You
go
know, I
work
don't
with
know.
Dwayne Johnson instead.
Yeah. So I don't know. We will
Interesting.
see. But
Well, I think
it met my expectations fully.
I think it comes down to every time we're talking about an MCU movie, we're so hyping it up, just like WandaVision, that this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. And but at the end, Kevin Feige gets it right as usual, and
Yeah.
it works. I mean,
Yeah, I think we have to start going forward as fans. Stop listening to all these damn scoopers. And I don't mean stop listening entirely, but we've got to quit. Like, we've got to temper everything.
yeah.
We've got to quit going all in on every kind of weird conspiracy and multiple this, and they're going to introduce 20 new characters in this movie, and it's just like, stop.
You almost feel like if they would have done the amount of cameos people thought, that the movie probably wouldn't have been what you're saying it is and was.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it felt. I mean, it wasn't as big as Toby and Andrew, but it felt very important, and I think you would have diluted it by just throwing, Lou Ferrigno in there. I keep mentioning that, but every character that's not part of the MCU, but that is Marvel. It's like, you
You
know,
don't
I
need it.
I don't know that we have to connect everything. Maybe we will, but and they do story wise, and we can get into this later, but story wise, they are setting up Secret Wars,
That's what I was
very
going to
much
ask
so.
you. What do you think is like the next big thing that they're setting up, and why do you think it's Secret Wars?
Well, it's definitely Secret Wars because Jonathan Hickman's run in introducing the Illuminati and doing a lot of those things. Uh, the Illuminati ended up forming because I can't remember the specifics, but they saw the convergence, which is what they somehow they stumbled upon one universe was colliding into another, and they had to pick one to save. They couldn't save both. So one whole universe had to die because if you didn't do it, then they both died.
Mm,
Well, that's what happened with that one strangest world universe. There's two of them that collided, and it's just they're all dead. And so the Illuminati was formed to fight that. And so
okay.
it's like eventually all these convergences are too much, and they do collide, and this is where we get the battle world and the God Doom. And I don't know how exactly they'll get there. It won't be the same as the comic, but they've planted the seed. This is where they're going.
Will Wanda be involved during that?
Well, I mean, it's definitive, but not. I mean, spoiler. I mean, she's dead in the movie. It's kind of one of those things you're like, I'm pretty sure she's dead, but we didn't see the body.
Mm,
It's one of those. So, I think if I had to guess, I bet we get a tease of her in Agatha Harkness's show.
And maybe Agatha brings her back. Is that what you're thinking?
I don't think they'll have her show up on the show as a big reveal because I think they'll want to save her coming back in a movie. But I think there will be elements of her coming back in Agatha's show. They're
Yeah,
gonna plant. They're gonna plant some seeds about how she comes back. In
it's
my
flat
opinion.
out. It's flat out this way that you can't have an actress as doing as well as what Elizabeth Olsen is in this character to just die in this movie and not ever come back.
No, yeah. I mean, it's you could say, "Oh, that's it for her." No, it's not. There's way more to do. There's way more to do. There's the redemptive arc. She's at the end of the day a hero of the Marvel universe. Despite this, it's just like it's very well parallel with the comics. It's pretty cool. She was full on bad in the comics, and she's worked her way back. It's taken a while, and we still got the grown up kids to introduce.
Yeah,
All the Young Avengers stuff that we've said. We got Kate Bishop, America Chavez. Somehow we got to get these boys.
Yelena.
Yeah, Yelena. We got to get well, yeah, I don't know if she'll be a Young Avenger, but we got to get these the twins aged up. And so yeah, it's all headed that way, and she'll have some part to play. I'm not quite sure what, but it'll happen.
Okay. I don't have anything
So
else unless you have something else.
again, it's just like, hey, go into this not expecting every cameo out of the book, and that's to the Uber fans. It's just kind of like I don't want to get into the Moon Knight topic right now, but there was a character we were thinking was going to happen, and of course it didn't happen.
Right.
So again, go in with just these expectations, and now that we spoiled it for you, but I think having had that ahead of time probably helped my enjoyment of it because it was really good.
Good.
So that's it. Enjoy the movie.
All
I
right.
can't wait to see it again. So
All right. We will catch you all later.
okay, we're out.